What's wrong with him now?
People are stupid.
New video format. Recording 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and honest to God, is everyone ready for this one?
I'm never ready for talking about shit, dude. Especially nowadays.
Yeah, no.
Fuck.
So yeah, we're breaking from the formats a little bit today. We don't have our normal virtual backgrounds because we're covering this. We're covering this. In case you want to see.
We're covering that.
I'll give you a minute to read that real quick. So yeah, in case you were wondering, yeah, that's gonna be my background the entire time.
This is gonna be mine.
Absolutely.
Because that's what the world is right now. So.
All right. So let's get into it. So if you haven't heard, and it's everywhere right now, absolutely everywhere right now. Cuties, supposedly a documentary from 2017 under the French something. I don't speak French. I don't know how to pronounce the word.
It's a French film, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a film festival movie that came out. It was supposed to be a documentary about the exploitation of young female girls in the dancing art industry, from what I was able to pick up and read. We'll talk a little bit more about the independent.co.uk is where we found most of the story. Really shows the difference between what the original poster was, what the Netflix poster was. We'll get into that. So just before we get too far in, what are some of your initial thoughts? If I keep talking right now, I'm just going to go into an explosive rant, and that's not going to be productive. So, some initial thoughts.
I'm going to call back to one of our previous videos, and this might get loud for you headphone users. People are stupid.
Remind me to lower the volume at that one specific spot. Candosi, you got anything?
Not a whole lot, really. I didn't actually know this was a thing until a few days ago when Minnow brought it up. And my first brush with it was just watching the trailer, which came across relatively, from what I remember, relatively normal, like, just a dance film. And the only thing that kind of caught me and made me ask a few questions was like the very end of the trailer. I did see scantily clad children, which does happen in the dance world. So, it just seemed like, it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's normal. This happens. So I didn't actually have a problem with it until I looked further into it and saw how it was marketed. And yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you were a part of this kind of industry when you're growing up and towards your adult life, right? So.
Yeah. I was in dance as a child, and then I was not for a while, and then I went back in as an adult, and I've seen some stuff. I've seen not the worst of the worst, but young children are definitely sexualized in the dance community, and it's really unfortunate, and it's just a norm.
And that gets into politics and what California's trying to do, and
that's a new breaking news for a later date. I don't have the energy to cover that legislation at this point.
I'm supposed to be the funny one. I'm supposed to keep you from getting angry.
I'm aware, and you're the one with the explosive virtual background, so whose fault is it now?
It's explosive comedy.
It's 2020.
Anyways, into the meat and whatever this is.
All right, so we'll put the overlay up real quick at a later time, but I'm going to go ahead and just read from this article that we found. Again, it's independent.co.uk. We'll have the link down below in the description. So the article starts out with Netflix has apologized after using inappropriate artwork to promote their upcoming film Cuties. We're deeply, and this is a quote, we're deeply sorry for the inappropriate artwork that we used for the menage, French for Cuties. The streaming company tweeted on Thursday, referring to the movie both in its original French title and by the English translation. They continue on the quote saying, "It was not okay, nor was it representative of the French film, which won the award at Sundance. We have now updated the picture and its description. The apology came after several people criticized the poster for Cuties on social media, comparing the French and US versions of the promotional artwork." And we're going to show you right now the original versus the new updated one. Which, I'm sorry, when you're looking at it, when you're looking at the two, one looks like, a classic Disney coming-of-age story, like...
Or even what it was originally meant to be,
Mhm.
storytelling of the hardships of a single person.
Right. And then you look at the one Netflix released, and I swear to God, it looks like a Magic Mike poster, but with 11-year-old girls on this. And I don't know why that makes me as mad as it does right now. Actually, I do know why.
Yeah, I was about to say there's a lot of
Exploitation.
reasons.
There's a lot of reasons. It's just I don't know how to pick one to display it properly.
Siblings, nieces.
Yeah, my little sister, like she was in gymnastics for a little bit, and I swear to God, if that were to happen to my little sister when she was going through gymnastics for like the 2 years or 3 years that happened, I'm not saying I would commit arson, but it would definitely be on the table. For legal reasons, I would never do arson. For legal reasons. I want to make that very clear. But yeah,
pretty much
arson,
same here.
Arson.
Or
So the rest of the article goes into following the quote. It's from people talking about the original Netflix poster and all that stuff. So the quote is, "So Cuties was a French film that went to Sundance. Netflix gets a hold of it, retitles it to something questionable, slaps a hypersexual poster on it. I haven't watched it yet, so I will reserve my feelings about the actual film. But the diff in the two posters says a lot," one person wrote. Another person wrote, "It is interesting to compare the French version of the Cuties poster to the American version. Like, the French version has more kids having fun vibes, while the American version is just just fucking gross." They bleeped it out. That was my bad, my brain. I feel like the hashtag Netflix marketing team has a lot to answer for. And honest to God, yeah, I agree with that one, because who the fuck okayed this?
Yeah.
I normally try to reserve cussing when I'm filming myself, like, because I'm trying to present this professional outlook, but not with this one. Let's see.
This is pretty infuriating.
Yes, the article continues. Cuties was directed by filmmaker Miamwa. I'm not going to pronounce that correctly ever in my life. I'm not French. And premiered at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival. And so again, they show in the article, they show the Netflix tweet. And it's just one of the most unapologetic apology I have ever read in my life when it comes to something like this. "We're sorry for the inappropriate artwork. It was not okay, nor was it representative of the French film." Really? That's all you have to say?
Go
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, something that gets me about that is not representative of the film. Did you not know what you were representing? Did you just come up with that, were you flying by the seat of your pants there? It's like, how do you get that far off from the original point?
It's called money.
True.
Yeah. Well, and so, again, jumping back to the virtual background behind me, because, you can look at the description nowadays, and it's just like, the typical, young girl coming of age, trying to break away from family traditions. She's, like the typical, well, not typical, but she's like the refugee trying to make it in France kind of thing, versus a young 11-year-old joins a twerk squad. Look at me. Like, how the fuck does that happen? And again, the Netflix marketing team, the Twitter team, thought they could just sweep this under the rug with a non-apology apology. We'll strive to do better. Really? You'll strive to do better? Like, you didn't think about doing that the first time? So you didn't have
Oh,
this
do you want to
fuck
know
up?
what's even better? I just pulled up the trailer, and it says TV mature. And I'm trying to figure out whether or not that's the dancing going on or the things happening in this girl's life. Like,
That's
honestly,
what I was gonna say. Is it might be the
there's
thing.
so much that has been skewed from the original. So much, because the original play was, and the original film was about a young black girl growing up in France, finding dance as a way to put herself out there and step away from the controlling family. That's what the original was about, as far as I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
So again, from what we were able to find, you know, the idea behind the film was, again, the exploitation of young females in the dancing industry and the art industry, as we covered in the beginning. And yet you release a trailer, you label this as TVMA, you market it as a young girl coming to age story, and yet you still have it as a TVMA. Which begs the question, is this actually what it's about? Like, no shit? Is this really just a fucking pedo trap? And you're just trying to hide that fact now? Or is it actually a documentary?
Yeah,
like
you'd really have to see the original film and judge from there. But if it was intended to be, you know, just about the exploitation and kind of something that's against exploiting young girls, then Netflix marketing team completely dropped the ball because they sent the exact opposite message.
I absolutely agree on that fact.
Well, and not even mentioning the fact that in the last like 5 seconds ish of the trailer, literally it's the same outfit that these girls were wearing in the controversial
Poster.
the controversial poster. Same outfit is still in the trailer. But
Not even just still in the trailer. That most likely means it's still in the movie.
Exactly. It's just like.
And when I had no context and just watched the trailer, that was the part that kind of raised a red flag for me. It was the last 5 seconds.
Yeah. Take it from someone, and again, I don't necessarily always have like the most amount of evidence behind to make this claim, but I've been focusing on this industry long enough, and for those very, very select few people that know, used to make films. This is starting to look more like a cover-up and a way to hide what the true nature of the film is, because it's a non-apology, because you still left the same outfits in, because you're doing a lot of shady shit. It looks more like a cover-up than anything else. As a way to
I'm expecting to see people totally boycott Netflix for a while after this.
Yeah.
If you have shares of Netflix, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that fucked you. Sell them now.
So, yeah, another thing, after you say that, it kind of makes me wonder, like, okay, it was originally an independent French film. When Netflix got it, how did they edit it? What did they take out and what did they move around? And so, you know, what we get on Netflix could be wildly different than what the original even was.
Think Avatar: The Last Airbender compared to The Last Airbender.
Don't think Avatar: The Last Airbender, dear Jesus.
We don't talk about the movie.
Think Death Note versus Death Note the movie.
We don't talk about that
Take
either.
notes. You are banned from talking for approximately 10 seconds, starting now.
Screw that. It's the same concept.
But yeah, no, it is the same
You're right.
concept.
You're right.
Crap, I had a point. Fuck me, big
And then I
nose.
brought up cursed images.
Yeah. Oh, so I remember the point. I actually do remember the point. Yeah. So here was the whole like ordeal, and we're about to get into this Twitter thread that was brought up in our Discord server. We want to talk about it a little bit. We'll read through it and discuss it. But this one point I want to bring up. That original 2017 film was filmed more than likely low budget. These are what happens at the typical film fest, right? It's people, and they go out and they buy like a $200 Sony camera. It's not the best film quality. It's not like actual professional actors. It's you and your best friend, right? Again, for those of you the select few that know, this is what I did back in the day. I didn't necessarily enter film festivals, but I did make these kind of low budget films. And so a lot of times, if these films were to get picked up by someone, such as a Netflix company or like another industry, that's out there making videos and stuff like Hulu or HBO, when they pick them up, they pick up the rights to make this idea. Now, sure, you are the original person, so you're going to get your fair share of cut, but you don't control who hires the actors. You don't control which actors they hire.
You don't control the script.
You don't control the script. In fact, actually, and this was so interesting about the industry, the only time that the original author of a series has ever had as much control as they did was Game of Thrones with George R. R. Martin. And you can see how closely, at least the first half of that TV series, reflected the books. And then as he started having less and less control of the TV series, it spiraled out of control until it just turned into a jumbled mess.
If you're an anime fan and never watched Game of Thrones, you could even look at Naruto.
Yeah, exactly. Like
the original series of Naruto. I know a lot about it. But the original series of Naruto follows very closely with the manga. The manga came out first. It went through. And then they made a second show, a sequel show, Shippuden. Shippuden started spawning more of the manga. And while, yes, everything in the stories are the same, there is an obvious difference. Even though Masashi Kishimoto was the one who was consistently editing it the entire time, he wasn't necessarily in full control of the story.
Right. And so that's the question. And again, this is kind of like one of those like slight insights that, again, don't necessarily have evidence, like hard concrete evidence. So, if you want to tag me on that one, go for it. But I've been in this kind of scenario. Whenever you make something, again, like the Twitter thread we're about to go into, as they said, this supposedly the original film was about the exploitation of, young people, as we've said on and on and on and on again in this video. The thing about it is, what changed and why is it so heavily focused on the twerking aspect? And why does it feel less like a documentary and more like a coming-of-age story that hypersexualizes these kids? Because that's the weirdest part. They still had to do a casting. They still had to find, young girls to play these roles. They still had to find all these actors. They still had to write these scripts. And they're doing exactly what the film was supposedly against. I think I read somewhere along the lines of they had 600 children try out for these roles.
But overall, moving on to the Twitter thread.
So yeah, moving on to the Twitter thread. So this is Brandon. It sounds Swedish. I don't know. People with last names. I'm a Texan. I don't know how to pronounce last names. I can barely pronounce my own last name. Anyways, so this is the Twitter thread published on August 20th. It says Netflix might have destroyed the career of a French filmmaker because they marketed her film a commentary on on how society disgustingly sexualizes young girls and their struggles of growing up black in France as a disturbing pedobait. This is all the conversations about. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Sorry, sue me later. Are now focused on accusing her of awful things solely because of how Netflix presented her film. This is fucking appalling. I haven't seen the film, but everything I've read about it, which took 2 minutes of Googling, seems to suggest that the film is about the exact thing Netflix did. It is so fucked up. And to be clear, I don't blame people for being outraged. A first impression is everything. If your average person was scrolling through Netflix and saw that poster with that description, how couldn't you be disgusted? It's gross. Netflix knew better. They knew exactly what kind of message that would send. It's impossible to wrap my head around. How could they go ahead with that marketing? And that is the entire crux of all of this. Your entire original message changes when that is your description. Am I making sense to anyone? Am I sounding insane?
You're not sounding insane.
No, you're
However,
making
you
sense
have to think of it the other way. Like how we described the movie earlier on near to the beginning. That description does cover it. However, it is worded in such a way.
See, this is
tells
actually
it something different.
Yeah, this is why we're trained in media writing to choose our words very, very carefully, because media writing often carries over into things like marketing, and you have to be careful, or you do what happened here, which Netflix may have done on purpose. Who knows? But still, you can do it very much by accident too, just by choosing your words poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And on that note,
I was going to say, as a slight closing, it's going to be like a 5-minute rant. Don't get me wrong. Nate, cut me off if I go over too long. You'll know when.
You've given me power.
Oh, God, what have I done? Anyways. So there have been a lot of, not necessarily controversial topics, but a lot of talks about what's been going on. If you focus at all in the news, what's going on, there's conspiracy theories going everywhere. You have like Pizzagate and all that other fun shit, and the Q. If you don't know QAnon, that whole deal, right? Whether you believe it or not, that's what a lot of people are touting. They're like, oh well, this is just those people. They're like the 33 degree Masons. They're trying to control us and make pedophilia a thing because all these elites are pedophiles. If you've watched all that, a lot of people are saying this is what's happening. By no means are we saying that's what's happening. This could be a simple marketing fuck-up. A horrible marketing fuck-up.
But either way, it's absolutely abominable.
Yeah. Or it could be entirely intentional. The movie isn't out yet. By all means, this team, I already know we're probably going to sit down and watch this movie. Probably be disgusted by it, or maybe not disgusted by it, who knows.
Or fall asleep, like I tend to do during watching movies.
Right. We are going to sit down and review this, so we will have a follow-up video on this one, just so you're clear. We're just saying, hey, marketing is really fucked up right now. That being said, I've been Mennonite.
Big nose.
And thank you guys for watching. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the fun stuff. Have civilized discourse. That's what we're here for. And if you feel like it, click the link down below. Join in the Discord server. We have plenty of good conversations down there. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll have a good day. And
stay safe. Don't blow something up.
Exactly. Y'all have a good one.